RPD sucks. It's too big. Not at all. It's actually really small of a map. If anything, it should be in your favor very dramatically. It feels big. I just hate it. My ass gets turned around in RPD, but that's on me. Yeah, the map's not big at all. But if you're going from like left to right, left to right, left to right, then there's definitely like an issue with game sense going on in RPD. K is for killer. Pick green. Survivors are green. What you want to take note of is your spawn point. If you spawn anywhere in any corner of the map, anywhere, right? Wherever you spawn, survivors are going to always spawn directly on the other side of wherever you technically are. The best thing for you to do is just get used to the map layout. So if you're initiating a chase, right, you kind of just want to put pressure on wherever the survivors are on their dominant side. For me, when I'm playing Survivor, take note of this. If I'm playing Survivor, right, remember, green is Survivor. If I'm playing Survivor, I know that the killer spawns literally somewhere on the other half of this map. Spawn somewhere on the other half of this map because, you know, I spawned in this office area over here. So I know for a fact that he's probably on the other side of that. There used to be an issue with DBD where killers and survivors would just spawn right next to each other, but thank God that's not a thing anymore. I know your perks and the map and everything, you can kind of coincide 2 and 2 together. As a killer, there's a couple of things that you can take note of. You can either obviously initiate chase, put some pressure, scare them a little, be sneaky, do this, that, or the third. The killer that you pick definitely determines what you're going to do, in my opinion. It makes or break how the game's going to pan out based on what you want to do. First things first, there's certain gens that I just let them have. There's a big reason for that. So let me make gens. Generators are red. You know, we have a generator here. We usually have one here. We have one in the safety deposit room. There's one outside. And then there's one out here. And then there's one around here, if not right here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't mind giving up gens that are super far away. The reason I don't mind giving up these ones on the right side, if I initiate a chase as a killer, right? Say, you know, I go from reception, I walk out, I go to entrance, and I go for the one that's outside, and I know this one got done. Their mindset isn't like me. When I play Survivor, my mindset is I'm gonna go to where the killer is, and if he sees me, I initiate a chase. If not, I'm gonna start doing gens that are on the opposite side. I'm confident within me playing as a Survivor that if I encounter him, I'm gonna take him for a little joyride, and I'm going to do what I can just so everyone knows they have this information. That's another thing also. If you're playing Survivor, keep in mind that the importance of one person initiating a chase will make or break a game also. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad at looping. As long as you're able to give people intel, that is a huge fucking factor because nobody knows. So if one person does it, everyone feels safe to hop on a gen. Everyone feels safe to kind of set up for whatever comes into play. In RPD especially, the more gens that you get them to do on one side, the harder it's going to be to do this other side. It's inevitable because of how close they all are. These gens are going to have a fucking horrible time getting done because all the ones on the right got done. If anybody at any point finishes these gens on this half, even if they finish the ones on this half, it does not matter. If survivors start running in this direction when you're chasing, you have no obligation and no reason to go over there. Wherever gens are done, drop the chase. It is not worth it. If the person's one hit, try to secure it. If not, they're healthy, and, you know, they're just taking you all around the map and, you know, they're looping you like crazy and shit like that. It is not worth your time. You guys will see me do it all the time. If there's a shack and the gent is done in shack, I have no reason to go into that area. I'm going to get looped for at least a minute, maybe a minute and a half, unless you're really nasty and know how to shut it down. And in some cases, I'm able to, but in some cases, I'm not. Let's say, for example, here's me, right? Here's me. I'm the killer. Here's my stick figure. Yay! And we have a survivor that we see in main hall, and they're like, ha 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 ha, and they start running towards the area where all these gens just got done. What is the point of me initiating a chase and going after them when I know all of these are done? You know when gens get done. There's a sound cue, there's a display, there's a little thing, it lets you know. So my thing as a killer is to put pressure. So if I know they're going to run in this direction, I need to either cut it off and lure them this direction, or I need to break chase. It's one or the other. A majority of the time, when you're in closed and confined maps, it's not about the map being big. It's not about make the map work in your favor. The environment is everything. If you decide to go straight into this area, into the office areas, and then you start getting looped here. And then he takes off, and then they take you outside, and then you get looped out there. The only thing that's coming across my mind is they are working on these gens. They're getting done. So there's, like I say, you guys, I always say this. I continue to say this, and I will never stop saying this. There are things you can control, and there are things that you can't control. Do the best that you can and make it work in your favor. Try your best to cut it off as quickly as you can, because the moment that you do, they're going to run this direction. And let me explain this to you. How fucking annoying is it playing a survivor and the people that are getting chased are getting brought to you? You get fucking irritated. You know, keep an eye on these characters, right? So I initiate a chase, and then the survivor starts going this way. Remember, this is a gen right here. But also remember, what if someone's working on this gen? Then you got two people who are freaking out. So now you have a bunch of things in mind. This person's injured. This person's telling me where everyone else is. I'm preventing someone from working on a gen. There's so many variables that get put into account, and there's so many things that run in my head as things are happening. So when I say that it's a sense of game sense, it's more than just having a sense of game sense. It's manipulating the game so that it works in my benefit. I don't know when to drop and when to keep it going in chase. Okay, when should you break chase? This is a great question. There's a handful of reasons, and there's a couple of instances where you drop chase. Yippee, I'm the killer. Let's say we're at a tile. So we have a normal tile. Yellow is where they can vault. Typically, a normal chase is, you know, someone runs this way, they go in here, they go in here, and they go in here, and they just keep it going. Looking like pirate software with the boxes. Yeah, but I didn't work at Blizzard, and I'm not a ass. I don't mean to say anything disrespectful like that, but like, he's just so obnoxiously incoherent and disconnected with reality because of his ego that it just makes me so upset. It's fucking annoying. That being said, going back to what we're talking about, this is a normal pattern right here when you're doing a chase. Keep in mind, you're gonna get 3 vaults out of each one. So cutting off loops is very important. You know, usually this is the case. There's some type of debris or walls that are right there. If I'm right behind him, it's a 50-50 scenario. I can either entertain the idea and keep chasing him, and then we go over here, and then we just keep going in this pattern. But that's why I take a split second to push up, and then I go back, but I'm looking backwards because I can either catch him on the flip side over here and he has to backtrack, or I can cut him off because he decided to continue on towards me. This is a really big thing for, you know, learning how to backwards walk in DBD. Hide your red stain, if you will. In the midst of all this, in this entire section, there's a gen. Right here in this tile, there's a gen, but guess what? This gen is 100% done. I am not taking this chase. There is no reason for this chase. There's no reason to give it any attention. You need to learn when to stop seeing red. That is my biggest. Don't overheat. Overheating is a terminology used in tactical shooters where like you have an advantage and you're killing it in the game, and you decide to step over your boundaries of where you're supposed to go. You're outside of your safety net. You're outside of your safe zone. Giving anything, any type of attention in any circumstance that doesn't need it will be at an extreme disadvantage for you. And that doesn't even go for games. That's just life in general. There is no point paying attention to minuscule advantages for other people when I need to continue on and get on with the rest of the match and get on with the rest of my life. Pressure gens, try to get down, drop. My personal thing, if I'm doing a chase, I have 45 seconds in my head. I do a countdown. I have 45 seconds to make a chase happen. And you'll even see it in some instances, it gets dropped a lot quicker than that. If someone has life and they take off and they start heading towards Pallet Central or another tile that I know has a bunch of vaults, I gotta drop chase. And there's nothing wrong with dropping chase. It's not, I'm not a bad killer if I decide to let it go. The survivor's not better than me kind of mindset. Is just, okay, they played that really well and they're playing to their advantage and they're taking off. I need to put my attention somewhere else now. When you guys start looking at playing killer from a different perspective of like, they're one-upping me, I'm getting mad, I start BMing, I start sandbagging, I start slugging, all of those things can be rightfully justified. But if your anger is the key variable to justifying those things, you need to reevaluate your mentality, you need to reevaluate your game sense, and you need to reevaluate what you're really angry about. So you drop chase when they start to go pallet heaven, or you're looping in an area when you know they're going to be no other survivors, but if they end up going to an area with gens and almost no pallets, stick the chase. Yeah, exactly. The biggest tips that I can give, if there's like a scenario where you lose, you lost in that moment, and that's okay. Even then, that's okay. So don't respect pallets. Learn how to hide your red stain and backwards walk, And if there's a gen that's done and there's still pallets up on this tile or this area, drop the chase and go give someone else your attention. If you can redirect a survivor towards where gens are getting done, if you can redirect a survivor to where other survivors are, you are keeping them off of it. Even if it's unintentional, you are keeping them off objective. So the more you do that, the better. So just keep that in mind, gamers.